Hi, I'm Stephanie. I'm a naturalist here at the Eagle Creek Park Ornithology Center, and today I thought it would be a lot of fun if we went on a bit of a virtual bird hike. We are in the midst of spring migration, so I thought it would be a great idea to take us along the Coffer Dam Loop, which is part of our Red Trail. It's a pretty easy hike that's about 2 miles long, so let's get started. So today's hike is going to be a little bit more of what some of you might be familiar with as in a vlogging style. So I'm going to be talking as we go along here, and then I'm going to be showing you parts of the trail, and then I'm going to try to show you all of the birds that I see. Now, I am not a professional bird photographer or a videographer, so please forgive me. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to get footage, but I am armed with my camera and my binoculars, so wish me luck. All right, so up first, we are going north on the trail to start with. It's just the way that I usually go, but I wanted to point out this fun feature. If you have visited the Ornithology Center, I am sure you have seen it before, but it is a log that was donated to the park back in 1976 for our country's bicentennial. There was some sort of competition that they had, or convention or something, and this log is actually from a Douglas fir tree, and it was 412 years old when they cut it down initially, but we keep it here as a great example of decomposition. There are a couple of black rat snakes that I think live inside of the log. Sometimes on good days you can see them sunning themselves on top, but not today. All right, let's keep moving. All right, so already I have seen a brown thrasher, which is kind of a bigger bird with some spots on it. It's got a really bright yellow eye, and it was foraging on the ground. I'll try to insert some footage of it in this video. I've also seen a couple of blue-gray gnatcatchers, which are really tiny little blue birds that have really long tails, and they've kind of got this eyebrow look that makes them look a little bit angry, but they're adorable, and they've got this really cute little wheezing call that they make. And I've also seen cardinals and titmice and all kinds of little birds. Oh, and blue jays too. So I will try to get as much footage of those as I can and put those through the video, but let's keep going. Okay, so I just got done taking a look at a pileated or a pileated woodpecker, just depending on how you say it. I kind of think of it as a tomato-tomato issue, but I've been meaning to look up what the meaning behind pileated is and how that you might pronounce its root word. But I just got done seeing it. Hopefully you'll be able to see that now, but they also have this really loud call, and I first saw it because I could hear it calling, and then I saw it fly onto the ground. It was kind of on a log that was on the ground. It was trying to peck into that, so that was really cool. Also, around here I am hearing northern parula's call, or parula's, also one of those tomato-tomato things, but they have this wonderful call that's like a brrrr, and they're a kind of warbler. They have some blue on them and a bit of yellow on them too. I'm also hearing yellow-throated warblers, and those have this kind of descending bup-ba-dup-ba-dup-ba-dup-ba-dup call, and they are really pretty birds with this bright yellow throat. All right, so we are ending the near of the first section of the loop. This whole section here has been paved, but the next part we are coming up to is gravel, and we are coming still north here, and we are going to hang a left and go west. All right, so right above me there are a couple of brown-headed cowbirds that are in a tree, which is pretty cool, and I'm hearing some yellow warblers call. They have a call that says, sweet, sweet, I'm so sweet. Some of you might be wondering what this big platform up here is that's kind of got a branch sticking off of it. That is intended to be an osprey platform. As far as I know, I don't think any have actually used it, but I have seen lots of red-winged blackbirds sitting up on them. proclaiming their greatness. And if you don't know, red-winged blackbirds are just that. They are a black bird with red patches on their wings. You might also see a little bit of yellow on their wings. And the red-winged blackbirds have this pretty loud call that's like conqueree, which I cannot mimic very well, but they are pretty common around here. A lot of people think of them as a sign of spring. All right, so we are coming up on one of my favorite spots. I love to come up to this point, and I'll turn around here just so that you can get a bit of a reference point for where I am. And I love to come up here, and this spot in the tree line that's way up there is where a lot of our bald eagles are seen. They love to sit up there a lot. So I like to come here and take a look at them. And then at certain parts of the year, all of this is not water. A lot of it turns into mud flats where we see a ton of our shorebirds, and so this is another good spot. Oh, I think a fish just jumped out of the water. Hopefully the camera picked that up. Another good spot to see lots of our shorebirds, so highly recommend just taking a few seconds to stop here. All right, so I just got done taking a look at a song sparrow, and there are some tree swallows that are flying around here. We are about to turn the corner, hang another left, and we're gonna head back south down along this little bit of land that loops what we call our bird sanctuary waters, which are right here. Right now I see a couple of Canada geese hanging out here. There's a few more that just arrived. There's also a lot of double-crested cormorants that hang out here. And this is also a good place to see a lot of our great blue herons and green herons as well. I just got done taking a look at a yellow warbler that was on the same corner here. It was calling its sweet, sweet, I'm so sweet call. Their name is pretty accurate for what they are. They are just these little yellow birds. They have some sort of brown little streaks on them, but they are pretty much bright yellow, and I still hear some calling. So right around the corner here, there is a great blue heron. So I just got done taking a look at a brown thrasher, and we saw those earlier, but this one was doing a lot of different calls. They are mimics, so they like to mimic a lot of sounds. I heard it do an American crow. I heard it sing a yellow warbler call. Hopefully the audio turns out. I will try to put that into this video. Okay, so to the right of this bit of land here is this tree line. This tree line is the west side of the park, which you can go and hike on. And in this water area, there were a lot of American white pelicans that came and hung out for a while. At one point, there were 150 of them. They don't stay here. They tend to just migrate through, but we were really lucky that they hung out for as long as they did. Also out here, a lot of times you'll see big groups of ring-billed gulls and a few other different kinds of gulls that like to hang out here too. So I just saw an eastern kingbird. These kinds of flycatchers are kind of dark gray on their back, and then they have white bellies, and then they have a little white tip on their tail, just like it was dipped in just a little bit of white paint. And then I also got a really great look at a yellow warbler that was singing. I hope that the footage turns out. Alright, so I just spent a little bit of time trying to get a good look at a warbling vireo. They have this call that just kind of goes all over the place, like doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. I can't do it, look it up. But they're really cool birds. I don't think I was able to get any good video shots of it. It was kind of further back in the leaves, and so everything was just really blurry, and it just didn't want to come forward and be seen, which is totally fine. I'm just gonna leave it alone and let it be a bird. So I really like this grouping of trees here. A lot of times in the past I have seen orioles in these trees, and I've actually seen Baltimore oriole nest in one of these trees before. They have what's called a hanging cup nest. They kind of actually hang from the tree, which is pretty cool. And I'd highly recommend just taking a stop to check the branches of the trees for any cool birds. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about the conditions that you might be able to expect if you were to go out on a hike here on the Coffer Dam. It's a really easy hike. It's pretty well relatively flat the whole way, except for a bit of a hill at the end. And it tends to get pretty sunny and hot out here, especially out here by the water, where there's really no good shade or tree cover at all. So I'd highly recommend wearing a hat or a visor and bringing sunscreen and water with you. It also tends to get pretty windy out here, so just be aware of that too. All right, so I'm fighting the wind here a little bit. Sorry if the audio isn't great, but this is one of my favorite spots on the trail. It's kind of a nice place. You can look out at the bird sanctuary waters, and I love taking pictures here, and I love turning around and taking pictures of the other side of the water near sunset. It'll be pretty windy here, so just a warning. All right, oh, there's a turn. Let me try to see what kind of turn it is. So the turn is pretty far off at this point. I got some video footage of it, but I cannot tell exactly what it is right now. I'm gonna have to look it up. My turn ID is not that great. For those of you who don't know, terns are a kind of bird. They are very gull-like, and they tend to fly very similar to gulls, but they are known to fly pretty smoothly, and they also tend to look down when they're flying. They tend to look down at the water. It's pretty distinctive of terns, and they are very neat birds, but I sometimes have difficulty IDing them. I'm still learning them myself. But I did just want to say that this area here sometimes does go underwater. So if you get to this point and you don't want to trek across, you might have to turn around and go back. I would say that we are, I don't know, about 3/4 of the way through the hike. The Ornithology Center is way over there, but we will be back shortly. We are nearing the end of the portion of the hike that goes along the water, and we are about to enter the woods. I did just want to note that I have seen osprey hanging out in these trees right here. And then as you make your way into the woods, it's pretty common to see blue-gray gnatcatchers kind of right as you go in. I've also seen an eastern kingbird that just flew over here, and also there are song sparrows and yellow warblers still through here. Okay, so we are now entering the woods. The water is still here on our right, and this is the hill that I mentioned earlier. The beginning part of the trail is on a little bit of an incline, so that paved section. So depending on which way you go, you can go downhill first and uphill later, or you can go the other direction, the opposite of the way I went today, and you can go downhill the big hill first and then have a slow incline on the way back. Okay, so we're at the top of the hill here. You can see the direction we came, which is part of the red trail, and then you can see the red trail actually continues right and the blue trail continues forward. But to get back to the Ornithology Center, you want to hang a left here at this big green structure. This is another one of my favorite spots in the park here. I love just looking out over the water here. It's really nice, and I know it looks like a drop off there. There is a fence here. We are just continuing to make our way through the woods. There's not a whole lot of birds. I hear some birds, chickadees and titmice, and there was a parula that called, so still a little bit birdie. All right, we are back. I am so sorry about the very end there. My phone died. Who knew that taking lots of videos and time lapses would drain your battery, eh? But we saw almost 30 different species of birds. The rest of the trail was just a little bit of a dirt trail that leads all the way back here to the Ornithology Center. Please forgive me if some of the footage didn't turn out just right. I am still trying to figure it out. I hope to do a few more of these little trips where I go birding and hiking, and I want to show the trails and the birds to you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Take care.